Hi everyone, I am so excited for today's video because I'm going to be trying out new makeup, and if you've seen my previous vlog you would have known that I got some new goodies from Eldridge. But for this particular video I'm going to be concentrating getting to know the Myth palette from Lisa. So as you guys can see here, it has a very nice color story. I love this color story, by the way. And you have some neutral color here. You have this very nice deep color, and you have these very vibrant purple and violet shades. So I'm so excited to get to know this. And also one other thing, I'm also going to be getting to know the Iris liquid lyrics from her. So this has been on my cart on her website for quite some time, and this was released I think a little bit over 3 months ago on her website. And I was like, I was just like bidding my time, and also everything I traveled, so that's why it has been sitting there on my cart with a couple of things which I actually took out when she released her eyeshadow palette. Now, before I continue, one of the palettes from her that I was so attracted to was actually the one with the blue and green palette. I forgot the name because I can't remember at the top of my head. And all this like nice peacock colors. So I was very interested with that, but it actually ran out when I was starting to purchase some of her palettes. But I'm so glad that this was still available, which was a shock to me because I think this will look extremely well on a lot of skin tones, and particularly with my skin tone this will work very well because I have golden yellow tones in my skin, and purples and violets really work very well with this kind of like a color of a skin tone. And also with my eyes, I have brown eyes with a hint of gray, but usually in brown you have hints of yellow in it, and the complementary colors of purples is yellow, and to a certain degree also violet. So that's the reason why I was very, ooh, I just punctured one of the colors here. What color is this? This is called Nocturama, but it happens when one is too excited. So let me just get myself a tissue and I'll be right back. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swatch each of these colors on my arm so that we can see how it registers and pops. And I won't go into specific details about the specific formulas for this, but mainly I'm just going to talk about how it makes me feel, because Lisa actually did talk about each of the formula in her new eyeshadow palette release. So if you are interested to know more about in depth and in detail and its technical terms and whatnot, go to her video. I'm going to put a link down on the description box for that, so that it's not going to sound repetitive. Okay. Alright, and I'm going to start with the top row of colors first, and I'm just going to press my finger quite strongly into the pan so that I'm going to pick up some color, and I'm going to swatch it here on my veiny arm. Ooh, look at that amazing swatch. Alright, so these are the first three colors. This is called Nocturama. It's not black, but it actually has a hint of purple in it. But all the three colors that we see here right now are all cool tone. So this color here is called Illusionism, and that is a top coat, and it has this very nice pink yet lavender color. Very beautiful. And the next color that we have here is called Mauve Decade, and it has a very nice cool tone, violet yet purple color. And I think this is going to be a nice transition shade. Very amazing swatches. I love the velvet texture here. These are two matte colors, by the way. Amazing. Alright, so now I'm going to swatch the next three colors. Ooh, that was nice. Alright, and I'm going to do it here. Oh, look at that. And that one, and that one. Okay, so this color is called Faded Amethyst, which is actually a very creamy type of texture. Like when I pressed my finger initially on this pan here, it felt very, very creamy. So I'm actually very surprised by that formula. Beautiful color, beautiful shade. Alright, and the next color that we have here is Victorian Trim. It has a very nice violet shade, very vibrant, and I love, again, it's very matte texture. Amazing, very beautiful. And the next color that we have here is Violet Stone. And although the name is Violet Stone, it looks purple to me here as it is swatched on my arm, but I don't know how it's going to register on my eyes later. But so far, this is how the colors of the Myth eyeshadow palette look like swatched on my skin. Now, by the way, her packaging is absolutely beautiful. It is in this very nice, muted kind of a yellow gold color with a hint of green tones in it. And as she stated in her holiday giveaway video, it's actually inspired from like a 1930s cigarette case. So it's actually very chic and it's very small. So it's like, this is the size of it at the palm of my hand, and this actually fits perfectly in my makeup kit, and I'm so glad that it's not bulky. And also one other thing, I'm so glad that she only released 6 colors per palette because truthfully, when I have more than 6 colors in a palette, it can get quite confusing, and sometimes you don't get to use all of the colors in that palette. So I'm mighty glad with this, and I'm sure that if you are a fan of Lisa, you would already have known by now that there are pinholes here at the bottom so that you can remove each of the pan, and then you can actually custom make your own color story in her palette. So that's actually very nice. That's one thing I liked about Lisa's release now. And initially, I wasn't actually thinking of buying her palette, but I wanted to purchase specific colors individually. But as I've noticed when I started picking out the colors and the colors that I like, like for example, this Myth palette, all the colors that I wanted to purchase individually was in this palette, and that also goes for Muse. It was all in one palette, and truthfully it came out cheaper that way than buying them individually, because like 6 colors would come out to be like around 66 pounds, and this palette in its entire self is only around 49 pounds, so it's actually cheaper if you get it in the palette. But I do hope in the future that Lisa will come out with an option wherein you can actually buy the palette and then you can choose which colors you want to add there. So, but I'm sure that's going to happen sometime soon because Lisa actually listens to her consumers. All right, so let's play around with the Myth palette. I really love this palette just by looking at it. So I really don't have any plans of what type of eyeshadow application that I'm going to do on my eye. I'm sure it's going to be like as everyone else, wherein you apply a lighter shade and then build up. So that's what we're going to be doing today. All right, so I'm going to start with this shade here. I can't seem to remember the name, but I think this is called, okay, this is called Mauve Decade, and I am using this fluffy brush, as you guys can see here, and I am going to use this just to outline the crease of my eye, here in my socket line, and try to use it as a transition shade. Alright, so I'm just building up my shape and trying to fade everything out. The matte eyeshadows, from the get, this is the first time I'm trying it out, and I do have to say that it's actually very easy to blend, and it's actually like a no-brainer. So if you are someone who is starting out being creative with makeup or starting out your makeup journey, I think Lisa's eyeshadows is going to be very perfect for you to start with because it's fail proof. Okay, I was a little bit worried earlier that it would be too gray, and I don't really like gray eyeshadow much. Just personally, it doesn't work for me. But I like it has a nice hint of purple here, because at least that gives already a very nice contrast to the yellow tones of my skin. And truthfully, just doing this now, I can say that this color is going to be a very nice one and done eyeshadow on the eye. Look at that. There's a brightening quality to it that I like. Okay, so I'm still picking up Mauve Decade here, and I'm just going to continue to outline the shape of my eye with it. So it's like the base color that I'm placing. Ooh, nice outline of color, perfect. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to pick up this color here, and this is called Faded Amethyst, and I'm just picking up a generous amount of it on this brush, and I'm just going to tap it all over my eyelid, and I'm going to try to blend it into my crease here, and let me just blend that into my socket line and well into my brow bone. It's actually a very nice moody color. I'm actually very surprised on how easy and how well the colors blend into each other. And also they have the same base tones to it, so that's why it's very easy to blend them out together. Okay, so if I am feeling a little bit like, playful, okay, so I'm going to be picking up this color now. This is called Velvet Stone. This is a very nice color. And I'm just going to line this on my upper lash line just to bring some brightness there. It's actually very easy to apply. I'm very surprised by it, and you can actually build up the intensity, which I actually like, because I don't like eyeshadows that wherein when you're the first application of color that you do on your eye, it's a very full impact of color, and then you would have to blend it out so that you get this very nice wash of color. So I try to avoid doing that because it eats up a lot of time that I need when I am working, and I do not find that I need to blend out these eyeshadow products from Lisa. And I'm actually liking this formula. They're very velvety, they're very soft. And also one thing, if you have sensitive eyes and if you don't like using very strong eyeshadow colors, because you find that if you blend way too much, your eyelids get raw. But I feel that with Lisa's formulation, it's going to be a much more pleasant experience for you. Right, so now I'm just adding the same color here on my lower waterline, just building up intensity, and let me just try to create a lift here. It's a very pretty color. Okay, very nice. So what I want to do now is I actually want to use this color first, and I'm just picking up a little bit of that with this brush, and I'm just going to run that across my crease and my socket line just to bring in some vibrancy there. You can just have a nice hint of color. It's very pretty. Ooh, that's a very nice violet color, because that just adds a nice hint of warmth into the eye, because of course, as you guys can see here on the palette, they're all very cool tone. Having this nice warm violet color can just really help elevate your eye look. And it's also working very well with me because it complements the olive undertones in my skin. Ooh, look at that. It's making my eye color pop as well. Right now I want to intensify this a bit. So I'm picking up the color Velvet Stone, and I'm just going to run this along my socket line so that it gives us more definition. Ooh, look at that. It's very nice. And I'm gonna get that Velvet Stone again, and I'm just going to run that along my lower waterline just to intensify that a bit, also for some balance. It's giving me that very nice 80s vibe, which I actually love. I love 80s eyeshadow looks. Okay, I'm just running this pencil brush along my socket line again just to add more definition. Very pretty. Ooh, I love that. And I'm going to go back to the brush that I used for the color Victorian Trim. I'm not going to add any more color, but I'm just going to run that along the edges so that it blends out everything. Ooh, look at that. Nice lifted, very nice soft color as well. I love it. Very pretty, very beautiful. Okay, so now I want to intensify this a bit, and I'm going to try and use this color Nocturama. And I don't think this is black, basing on my swatch and also how Lisa explained it on her video, so you don't really have to be worried about it. And I'm just going to use this color here in the outer V portion, for some intensity. And I'm also going to bring that well into my socket line. Ooh, look at that. So I'm just continuing to intensify the outer V portion. Oh no. So that's the village maintenance. I think they're maintaining some garden stuff around the village. So I apologize for that sudden sound. I didn't know that they were going to do that today. So hopefully we will survive this video with that noise in the background. Okay, so while the grass cutting continues, I'm just going to add some of this Nocturama color into my lower lash line, and I'm going to blend it up a bit into my upper lash line to add more definition. But I actually want to add more intensity, so I picked up this smudger brush and I'm just pressing the pigment well into my upper lashes, like, so that I have a much more defined look there. And I'm also blending it into my socket line, as you guys can see here. Now, what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be picking up the topper shade here, and I am just going to pat it very slowly into my mobile eyelid because this already adds some drama there, and as you guys can see, it is enhancing the shape of my eyelid and it's bringing some drama and color and light and life into that part of my eye. It's a very beautiful color. I like it. Okay, so now I am thinking of actually adding some black eyeliner. So I'm just adding a very generous amount all over my upper lashes, and I'm just smudging it out with the smudger brush. Okay, so while there's a lull in the grass cutting, I'm gonna go back and pick up this color here with the smudger brush that I used for the eyeliner, and I'm just going to set that. And I'm also going to use this color just to not make it look too black, just so that we have this very nice color story on our eyes of hints of purples and violets, things like that. And I'm just going to smudge everything and smoke it out. Okay, and right now I'm just going to add some mascara into my upper and lower lashes, and I'm using this mascara from OTG Easy Beauty. It's a local brand here in the Philippines, and the reason why I love using this is because it has fibers in it, so it builds up the volume without me needing to use false eyelashes to add some drama into the eyes. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm just buffing out the edges with this magnificent brush from Sonia G. This is called the Jumbo Blender, and this really does the job in fading out hard edges. Okay, now I'm picking up this topper shade here, and I'm just going to add it into the inner corner of my eyes just to help open up everything. And what I'm going to do now is that I have actually noticed some fallout into my cheeks, and I tried to remove it with a brush, but it's more effective if I remove the fallout with a makeup wipe, because I actually want to add some concealer and powder so that everything in my under eyes will brighten up. So this is how the Myth palette of Lisa Eldridge looks on my eye, without an eye base, by the way. Alright, so the grass cutting is still ongoing, but I think it's further from the house now, so I'm a little bit grateful for that. And at this point of the video, let's try the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lyrics in Iris. Now, I have been very intrigued by this color for quite some time, and let me just swatch it at the back of my hand so that we can see how, so I can see and gauge how it looks like. And it kind of reminds me of the Danessa Myricks color fix. So I have this color here, I forgot the name. Okay, it's Wild Orchid. And let me just swatch it right beside Lisa's Liquid Lyrics so we can see the color difference. Now, I do have to say though, let me get a brush. So if I just spread the Danessa Myricks a little bit, and on the other side Lisa's, I can see right now that Lisa's Liquid Lyrics is not as chunky as the Danessa Myricks, which I appreciate, because if there's one thing I didn't like about the Danessa Myricks color fix cream liquid eyeshadows, it's because of the glitter. They were very chunky. It's not comfortable in the eye. So although the color story is almost the same, but I can say that the Danessa Myricks here, I can see the purple color much more strongly, but here with Lisa's, it's looking to be a little bit blue, and I think it's because of the shimmer. It's picking up the light and reflecting the light back. But let's see how the Liquid Lyrics in Iris registers in my eye. Okay, so I'm picking up Lisa's Liquid Lyrics now with a brush, and I'm just going to gently pat it all over my eyelid and bring it as close to my crease as possible. Ooh, it's a very nice color, I have to say. And let me just get a blending brush for this, and let me just buff out the edges. Let me just add more because I think it dried up way too fast on my eyelid. And I'm just building the intensity here. Oh, and I also like that with Lisa's liquid lyrics eyeshadows, as it starts to dry, you can actually pick up a little bit of the pigment here with a clean brush and then use this to blend out the edges. It's like a watercolor kind of like a application technique wherein as it starts to dry you're also able to blend that out. So I just placed a new batch of the liquid lyrics here at the back of my hand and I'm picking up a new brush. So this is one of Sonia G's newest brush releases from her Eye Fusion series, and I'm just going to apply that here on my lower waterline, just around the edges, and I'm going to bring that up into my crease and blend it into my socket line. But I think it's actually better to apply the liquid lyrics straight from the sponge applicator here into the lower lashes and use a brush to spread that out. Ooh, that's a very nice color. I like that. I like its reflectivity. It's not as purple as like, the Danessa Myricks eyeshadow color here. Ooh, let me just point that out because this one is like really purple. This one has a much more bluer tone to it. Now, I also do have to say that this is not the first time that I'm playing around with Lisa's Liquid Durex eyeshadows, and it's one of the easiest liquid eyeshadow products that I have ever worked with. So if you're looking for that nice one-and-done eyeshadow with a nice pop of color, this is actually a very nice color to use. So what I want to do now is I just want to intensify my lash line a bit. And let me just blend that out. Now for sure you can use your fingers with this, but I actually prefer to use a brush. Okay, so I'm just patting that into my socket line so that I don't have any patchiness. It's just my technique when I'm using liquid eyeshadows. But I do have to say that Lisa's liquid eyeshadows, when you start blending it out, you don't see any patchiness on your eyelid, which is actually great. Because that's sometimes what happens with some liquid or cream eyeshadow products. Alright, so now what I want to do is I want to play with the Myth eyeshadow palette together with the Iris Liquid Lyrics eyeshadow here, and let's try to see if we can build up this eyeshadow look with the Myth palette. I'm sure we can, and let's just see how well the colors blend together. And so let's begin. So I'm going to pick up again this color here called Velvet Stone. I'm still not very familiar with Lisa's names for our eyeshadows, but for sure in time I will get to know them quite nicely. It's actually doing a very nice job of blurring out the edges and also adding some intensity in the area and also some opacity. And although the color Velvet Stone here looks purple, but actually when you apply it on your eyelid, it leans towards the much more violet scale of the color spectrum. Okay, and I'm just going to buff out the edges for that. Just bring it out. Trying to wing it out. Ooh, I have to say, it's actually very easy to blend out and it's very easy to mix the colors together. Very pretty. Okay, so I'm picking up the color Victorian Trim here, and this is what I'm going to use as a color here on my lower lash line. It's going to be very generous with it, and this is also what I'm going to use to connect my lower lash line here and blend that into my crease and socket line. So I have just realized as I am applying this color Victorian Trim, this actually has more red pigments in it. And the color Violet Stone here is more violet. So that's why when I was applying this color earlier into the crease, I was like, why is it more violet when I'm looking at it and it's it looks purple to me here on the pan. But by just playing around with it now, I now understand how cohesive this color story actually is and how well they work together, even with the liquid lyrics. Okay, so now I just want to add a little bit of this color called Nocturama. Did I get that right? Yeah, so it's Nocturama. And I'm just going to use this as an intensifier in the outer V portion here on my eyelid. And I'm using a bigger brush for this. just so that I'm actually able to smoke it out also at the same time. And I'm also trying to bring down the red tones that of the color that I applied on the crease earlier, just to make it more purple than violet. Alright, so I'm just gonna blend out the edges now. Ooh, I love how smoky it became. So let's intensify it some more. So I'm going back into this Nocturama color, and I'm just using this pencil brush. And I'm going to apply this color here in the lower waterline. And I'm going to intensify the V portion of the outer eyelid. Ooh, love, 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 love that. I wasn't expecting this to happen, but very pretty. And I love, like, how I'm actually able to layer the colors to get, like, a bespoke color. Like, for example, I was finding that these two colors were just a little bit too red as I was, like, playing with this eye. And I found that if I just layer a little bit of this Nocturama, it also changes, like, the shade of these two layers, and it makes it more purple, which I actually like. So it makes me, like, able to play around with the colors very easily. And if I just want to adjust the color, just adding a hint, like, a very thin layer of one color or the other, can really just adjust the intensity or, like, the brightness. So I really love that. Ooh, very nice. I enjoyed this. What do I want to do now? Okay, so let me add some eyeliner. I'm just going to be very playful with my eyeliner. I'm not being very careful with it. I'm not being very precise with it. And let me add that into my lower waterline, because I think this is a very nice smoky eye look. And let me just smudge out the eyeliner here on my upper lashes, and whatever is left on the brush head, I'm just going to smoke out my lower waterline as well. Okay, so let me add some mascara. Okay, so now I'm just adding a little bit of some mascara in my lower lashes, just for a much more cohesive look. Make the eye look very smoky. I love it. And maybe as a final touch, I actually want to add a little bit of this topper shade here. I love this color, and I'm just going to lightly tap that here on my eyelids. And I think this is a very nice topper to use, like when you have, like, overdone, like, your smoky eye, or, like, if you've used a lot of, like, matte eyeshadow colors and you just want to add a hint of sparkle and light into the eye. This is a very nice topper, actually. And this is one of the colors that I first, like, was very interested in to purchase, like when Lisa first, like, created her introductory video for her eyeshadow palettes for the holiday season. And when she started using this, I go like, oh, I want that. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to go back into this topper shade. What's the name of this? Illusionism. And I want to add that into the inner corner of the eyes, just to add a hint of drama there. Very pretty color. Ooh, I love that. Okay, so I'm also seeing a little bit of some fallout, which is acceptable to me. Like, fallout is not a big deal. Like, fallout will always happen, but I'm still very impressed on how very minimal the fallout was here with Lisa. And also, one other thing that I was a little bit worried about is that sometimes, like, when I'm using, like, liquid eyeshadows that have a lot of, like, shimmer in them, you'll also get some, like, fallout, and you'll get a lot of, like, shimmer in your, like, upper cheeks, or here, like, your in the inner portion of your cheeks, because that's just what happens when you buff out things in your eyes, no matter if, like, if it's a very long wear product, things like that. Like, when you're buffing something, product will always fall no matter what. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to add some concealer and powder, just the way that I did earlier here, just so that we can see how well this eyeshadow look will pop when everything is even out. There's no redness, and it's bright in the under eye area. Okay, so now I'm just going to set everything with some translucent powder. Alright, and just a hint of a final touch up here. Okay, better, much better. And here. Alright, so this is how the Liquid Lyrics in Iris and the Myth eyeshadow palette from Lisa Eldridge looks on my eyes. Isn't it so pretty? What do you think? Alright, so that's it for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed me showing you how I get to know Lisa's Myth palette, and also her Iris Liquid Lyrics eyeshadow, and I have to say these two are actually a very good combination. And I also do want to apologize for that little disturbance that happened earlier. I'm just so happy that I was actually able to continue and to finish this video today without, like, any further delays, because I can't really play around today because my time is limited because my partner and I have somewhere to go to later in the evening. We have a concert to attend to. Yeah, so my final thoughts on the Myth palette is that I'm actually very happy that you are actually able to layer the colors very nicely, especially the velvet ones, the matte eyeshadow colors. I'm so glad, like, mixing them together can create a bespoke color that will work for you. And that's very evident in what I did here. And because as I've said, these two were just leaning to be a little bit too red for my liking. I was hoping for it to be a little bit more blue toned. But like, mixing this Nocturama color just really created this much more deeper hue that I was looking for. And also, if you just want to go very light, it's also very possible. And I do love the top coat here called Illusionism. Look at that. It's a very nice pink yet lavender color. If this was a lip gloss, I would purchase this. I think that's it. If you guys have any more questions on how I use Lisa's new eyeshadow palette in Myth, and also the Liquid Lyrics and all of the products that I used today, please leave them down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. Alright, I'm going to let you go now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye!